Real Housewives of Orange County star Vicki Gunvalson opened up about her recent health scare. She revealed that she had a nearly fatal infection that could have taken her life if it weren't for her boyfriend, Michael Smith. Here's what happened. On Monday, August 26, the RHHC star spoke about her medical emergency on My Friend, My Soulmate, My podcast. Vicki's boyfriend Michael tagged along to help her tell her story. The Bravo star explained that there are still many things about the ordeal that she can't remember. "There's a lot of hours missing in my life because I got, like, amnesia," she said on the podcast. Earlier this month, Vicki Gunvalson said that she was headed to the hair salon as usual. Then she went to her office, and there seems to be about an hour or two that is missing from her memory. "I had a client coming in and she said I was talking gibberish, and I wrote an email out and the email didn't make sense," she said. The client Vicki was speaking to was a retired emergency room doctor. They immediately noticed something was off and alerted Olivia, Michael's daughter, to the problem. He believed that Vicki Gunvalson could have been having a stroke or some other serious medical emergency. She continued, "I don't remember anything and Olivia took me to the hospital. She was initially misdiagnosed with a sinus infection and discharged from the hospital." Her boyfriend noted that she'd had a sinus infection a few weeks beforehand, but it didn't seem normal. She was worse off than she usually would be if it was just a sinus infection. The Real Housewives of Orange County star took her prescribed antibiotics, and her health improved before she traveled to Europe. After hearing she previously had a sinus infection, the ER doctors kind of ran with that diagnosis, Michael said. At the time of the ER visit, Michael was in Arizona. His daughter told him he needed to get back home urgently. When he got back, he found Vicki Gunvalson in the bathtub. "I walk in and she's pretty much passed out," Michael said. "I grabbed her, pulled her out of the water, put her in bed. The doctor said she just needed to sleep, so I put her in bed and she slept literally 14 hours straight. Then, when she woke up, Vicki was disoriented." Michael was still worried that something else might be wrong and brought her back to the hospital. "She had a massive infection," he said on the podcast. "It was actually sepsis, but it was pneumonia. And what happened, and I'm no doctor, but when they explained it, is that when your body is fighting that big of an infection and that dangerous of an infection, your whole body attacks it, which affects the brain and everything else in your body, because your body sends everything it has to fight it." Now, the RHHC star is still recovering and revealed a medical professional initially estimated that she had a 10 to 20% chance of survival. Michael said he is staying at Vicki's place until she's feeling like herself again, noting that the situation was dangerous and scary. Vicki Gunvalson shared her thanks to her guardian angels, which included Michael's daughter Olivia. She said that she probably would have died if she was home alone when the health episode occurred. "I don't remember much, and that's the trauma of the brain," she said. "It's very similar to a stroke or PTSD where the brain kind of just goes into quiet mode. There was just a litany of things that could have happened and gone wrong, and it didn't." The Real Housewives star said that she's been emotional following the health scare. However, Michael assured fans that Vicki is doing much better now, and that she's coming out of it. Amanda Blankenship is an over-caffeinated wife and mother. When she's not reading or writing, you can find her watching reality TV or a good, juicy drama series. Vicki Gunvalson's near-fatal experience with a deadly infection. A reality star's harrowing tale of Vicki Gunvalson, one of the original cast members of the Real Housewives of Orange County, RHOC, is no stranger to drama. For years she has captivated audiences with her outspoken personality, business acumen, and the emotional ups and downs of her personal life. However, nothing could have prepared her, or her fans, for the real-life horror she recently faced when she was struck by a life-threatening infection that nearly claimed her life. The onset. A routine medical procedure gone wrong. It all began with what Vicki thought would be a routine medical procedure. Like many women her age, she had undergone a minor surgery to correct a long-standing health issue. The procedure itself was not out of the ordinary, and Vicki had full confidence in her medical team. However, what should have been a simple recovery quickly spiraled into a nightmare. Just days after the surgery, Vicki began to feel unwell. At first, she attributed her symptoms to the normal recovery process: fatigue, mild fever, and discomfort. Vicki began to feel unwell. At first, she attributed her symptoms to the normal recovery process. Fatigue, mild fever, and discomfort were all expected side effects. But as the days went on, her condition worsened. The mild fever spiked into dangerously high temperatures, and the discomfort grew into excruciating pain. Something was terribly wrong. A silent killer. The diagnosis that shook her world when Vicki finally decided to seek medical attention. The news was devastating. She had developed a severe bacterial infection, one that was rapidly spreading through her body. The doctors diagnosed her with sepsis, a life-threatening condition that occurs when the body's response to an infection injures its own tissues and organs. Sepsis is notoriously difficult to treat and can lead to septic shock, organ failure, and death if not caught in time. For Vicki, the diagnosis was both shocking and terrifying. As a woman who has always prided herself on her strength and resilience, the idea that her body was betraying her in such a profound way was difficult to grasp. She had faced many challenges in her life: divorces, business setbacks, and the public scrutiny that comes with reality TV fame. But nothing had ever made her feel as vulnerable as she did in that moment. A race against time. The battle to survive. Once diagnosed, Vicki was immediately admitted to the hospital and placed under intensive care. The medical team worked around the clock to stabilize her condition, administering powerful antibiotics to fight the infection and closely monitoring her vital signs. The severity of her condition meant that every minute counted, and the pressure on both Vicki and her doctors was immense. As Vicki lay in her hospital bed, she couldn't help but reflect on her life. She thought about her children, her friends, and the legacy she wanted to leave behind. The thought of not being there for her loved ones was unbearable, and she knew she had to fight with everything she had to pull through. The days that followed were a blur of medications, procedures, and moments of sheer terror. There were times when Vicki's condition seemed to improve, giving her and her family a glimmer of hope. But then, without warning, her fever would spike again, and the infection would seem to regain its grip on her body. It was a roller coaster of emotions, with each high followed by a crushing low. Support from loved ones. A beacon of hope throughout her ordeal, Vicki was not alone. Her children, Brianna and Michael, were by her side every step of the way, offering their unwavering support. Brianna, a nurse by profession, was particularly instrumental in helping her mother navigate the complex medical decisions that had to be made. Her knowledge and experience were invaluable, and Vicki often credits her daughter with helping to save her life. But it wasn't just her immediate family who rallied around her. Vicki's friends, including several of her fellow RHOC cast members, offered their love and support during this difficult time. Tamra Judge, who has had a famously tumultuous relationship with Vicki over the years, put their differences aside and reached out to offer her well wishes. Shannon Beater, another longtime friend, visited Vicki in the hospital, bringing with her a sense of comfort and familiarity that Vicki desperately needed. The outpouring of love and concern from her friends, family, and fans gave Vicki the strength to keep fighting. In moments of doubt and fear, she drew on the support of those around her to push through the pain and uncertainty.